if you watch like certain interviews of all those thought leaders and successful people, such as I think there's this very huge hedge fund investor, Ray Dalio, or like the founder of like Twitter and stuff like that, they all have like listed meditation as the one thing that has tremendously changed their life.
Hi guys, today we have Mabellyn. So for Mabellyn, right, she's currently running her own page, a very nice, beautiful artistic page whereby she draws. Is it called? Do you use Illustrator or what?
Procreate.
Procreate, exactly. That's where she draw her digital content. Talk about mental health, talk about mindfulness, and talk about mental wellness as well. So that's something that caught my attention. I was very intrigued, so I reached out to her. So probably can you share why did you start that in the first place?
Okay, personally for me, it's my 365-day self-love passion project. So I just hope to kind of like use art to express kind of like my interest in towards those topics and mental well-being. So that was kind of like how my project TTCM started. And
Awesome.
from there, it just continued to grow into a little community.
Nice. So I got a question. The previous chat we had, right? You actually talk about like mindfulness is extremely important. Why so?
So I think if you look at interviews or like if you watch like certain interviews of all those thought leaders and successful people, such as I think there's this very huge hedge fund investor, Ray Dalio, or like the founder of like Twitter and stuff like that, they all have like listed meditation as the one thing that has tremendously changed their life. So I think if you were to kind of like look towards them and to see kind of like their habits, a lot of people talk about meditation and mindfulness. So this is something that is getting more and more popular, thankfully. But let's just say that I would think that if you were to be more mindful in life and if you were to incorporate meditation into your life, you will really, really realize the difference it makes to your life. So at least that's what has been happening for me. So that's why I've been strongly like advocating meditation towards all my good friends as well, because I really think that it is something that people can incorporate to kind of like change your life in like a minor way. So you just imagine just putting in 5 or 10 minutes a day of meditation into your life, you can actually really see the impacts of it like after a few weeks, a few months even, because you'll realize that you will be able to control your state of mind more. You'll become very self-aware. You'll realize that you can notice certain thoughts that arise, and then you'll be able to control it and be more calm as compared to you what you were before. Meditation is really something that you need to try it for yourself in order to see its effects, because by nature it may sound very simple, or it may sound like it is you are doing nothing, because basically you're just sitting there and focusing on your breath if we are talking about breath meditation. So people don't really see what's the big deal about it if you were just to hear it like that. But actually, over time, when you start doing that, you yourself will notice the difference, and that is the difference that has made for me personally, which is why like I really think that it's something that is very useful and something that I could say like would change your life.
Yep.
Yeah.
So would you use? I mean, how would you recommend someone like me? Right, I don't do anything. I don't do any form of meditation. I tried once, but I failed because of my monkey mind. I get distracted very easily. I'll quit halfway. So how do I get started?
Okay, I think one easy way to for a beginner would be to try guided meditations. So
Okay.
there are many different options available. You can do it through guided meditations app. There are many good ones now, such as Headspace, Calm, Insight Timer, etc. Or you could also go onto YouTube. YouTube, there are many meditation, guided meditation videos as well. So you can just listen to their voice and they will guide you along the way. So the reason why it's guided means that it actually tells you what to do. So for instance, close your eyes. Let's go into let's focus on your breath now. They'll tell you when to breathe in and breathe out, and then after a while they'll let you do your own thing, and then they will guide you bit by bit along the way. So I think if you're a complete beginner, that is one very, very good way to get started. And then as you go on, more questions will start forming in your mind. And then if you are more interested in it, you can go and watch mindfulness videos. So like just short clips. There are many like different TED Talks or whatsoever resources that are out there that can tell you more about it. But I would say to start off, you can try starting off with those. Yeah.
Right, right, awesome. So I'm very intrigued, why is mindfulness important to yourself?
To myself
Yeah,
personally.
yeah, yourself. Why would you, I know that self-awareness is important because at one point in time, I don't know myself. Hence, to me, that's why I put it at a very high importance. I rank it like top priority. But for yourself, why is mindfulness like, your top priority?
Okay. So maybe I can just roughly explain mindfulness and meditation.
Yeah,
So
what?
basically what it means is just being present in the moment. So that is really all that it is. So when you say you are being mindful now, it means like right here, right now, you are actually present in the moment. You don't think too much about the past. You don't worry or imagine the future. And so when you are living in the now, because you realize that ultimately all you have is now, and then like that kind of like keeps you calm and cool in the moment.
Mm,
And like meditation is one of the tools that you can use to practice that, because once you practice that, you'll realize that there are many different benefits. You become more self-aware, you become less stressed, you become more calm. There are even like physiological benefits. There are many scientific papers out there that shows how your body kind of reacts for people who have actually gone through this process. So those are like all the different kind of benefits you will be able to see lah. Of course, it differs from person to person, but personally, for me, I've also always had a monkey mind, and actually everyone has a monkey mind. We realize, right, that we have so many thoughts a day. It jumps from here to there to there to there, and then like you never ever like train your mind. So the thing that has really gotten me into this is because I want to be a better person. I want to be a better version of myself. And so in order to do that, you need to learn to master your emotions and not to become the slave of your emotions.
mm,
So the thing is that I felt like I always was the slave of my emotion. Let's say I feel angry because somebody did something to me, or I feel irritated because someone did something to me. Then those are feelings that are not really that pleasant. And actually, a lot of the times when people do something to you, it's your response that matters. And so I don't want to always be irritated because of things that are happening. I
mm,
want to kind of like just be happier. So you realize that mindfulness is actually one way that can really help you to train and tame your mind.
mm.
So I would say that that is kind of like one of the key motivations behind that. And training your mind, so like that's one thing to talk about, because many times we realize that people tend to be very like frazzled, and people kind of like lose focus very easily. Everyone, people like to work out physically and go to the gym, and then it's kind of like doing mindfulness, right? It's actually like a workout for your mind. So you realize that it is important to train your body, but it's actually equally important to train your mind as well. So
Mm.
this is something that people don't realize that is very, very important. One thing in meditation that is constantly talked about is a beginner's mind. So even if you are someone that has meditated for very long, you always want to go back to kind of like the playful beginner's mind, because it helps you to really just observe your thoughts without judgment. So that is one very, very important thing in terms of like mindfulness, where mindfulness goes, because every day we have thousands of thoughts. Some can be good, some can be bad. So when you experience so many thoughts in a day, you have to learn to kind of like detach from them, to observe them from a distance, and to look at them without judgment. So
Okay. Mm,
when you do that, you actually can live life a lot freer. Because let's say you notice an angry thought, like today I was late for work because of XXX reason. So it kind of like ruins your day right at the start. But when you kind of like detach from it, right, you realize that you are not really that anger, you are not really that thought. then you just let it go much more quicker. So because you constantly meditate, your mind is very, very aware. You can be very mindful. It's kind of like mind training. So you realize that you are able to kind of like you are able to plan your time or to be aware of your time in a certain way that allows you to be more productive and efficient. So like this is why also at my workplace I try to tell my colleagues to meditate, because like it really, really helps with productivity. It gives you a very clear state of mind, it calms you down, and then like it just like overall kind of like overall it seems very helpful lah. So yeah, and also like there's this quote which I really, really love. So when I kind of like got serious about meditating, I came across this quote and it just stuck with me so much. It goes along something like every day you should meditate for 20 minutes. If you are busy, then you should meditate for 1 hour. Yeah.
Why? Why?
Yeah, okay. So the thing is that it's trying to tell you that, okay, yeah, 20 minutes of meditation every day for yourself. Meditation is good. So like, and I have already talked about the benefits. So yes, you should meditate as a way of training and calming and being more aware. But the thing is that when you're busy, that's when you need meditation the most. That's why 1 hour, because your mind is so frazzled, it's so like busy. Your thoughts are flying everywhere. You are in a, perhaps you have a lot of energy, or perhaps you are very agitated, then that's where you need to calm yourself most. That's why the quote is like saying that lah. So it's because like you need it even more when your mind is in that kind of state. So at first, when I first read it, I was also confused like you, because like it seems a bit weird, but after that you realize the meaning behind it, then you'll realize that, oh, like that is kind of like the effects that meditation has on you, because it really has a way of like changing your mind, changing your mindset. So maybe just to share like some personal experience. Personally, I'm someone that gets frustrated very easily by like small things. And like maybe for example, if somebody caused me like or maybe like let's say I'm driving and then I happen to hit like a whole long series of red lights. It's just red lights. Naturally, you'll be a bit frustrated, because like you just drive a bit, then you stop, drive a bit, then you stop. So like maybe like past me will be very irritated and will be like, I'm late, that kind of thing. But like me now, right, like you will know that the frustration you feel isn't that it's kind of like an in the moment thing, and then you just try to like realize that you don't really have to respond in frustration, and then instead, right, when you are mindful, you'll just be like, okay, like now it's a red light, I'm just gonna, you can't change it, what, so you just realize, okay, it's red light, like I'm just gonna take my time to just be calm, like maybe breathe in, breathe out, that kind of thing. So in a sense, like with regular practice of meditation and mindfulness, right, you will realize that a lot of things that used to trigger you in the past will no longer trigger you anymore, or like rather it won't affect you the way it did before. And that was the biggest change for me, because I realized that the things that used to bother me so much in the past no longer bother me as much now. And when you notice the difference, that's where you really like start to reap the benefits of your practice.
Also, one thing I caught, right, was that you just mentioned that, hey, you never say something like I am angry, but rather like this moment, you talk about like the traffic light, incident. You're saying that, oh yeah, for this time being, I'm irritated or whatever. Suddenly, it just gave me this realization that you realize that anger was the emotion you were experiencing, but that doesn't mean that you were angry. So you never really label yourself in some sense. You kind of, the way I understood it is that you just notice it as a floating motion.
Yeah, correct.
You never link it to yourself. You never attach it to you.
Yeah, correct. So that's one thing that we do in personally, I also work on when like you practice mindfulness, because like let's say, example, perhaps it might have happened to like some of us, I'm sure. You, on the day you break up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, obviously you're gonna feel pain, you're gonna feel the heartache, you're gonna feel like your whole world is crashing, right? But one thing, if someone who has practiced meditation versus someone who didn't, right, the person who has practiced like mindfulness, right, will be able to note and realize that yes, I'm feeling this grief in me right now, but this grief is kind of like not me. I'm learning to just sit there and stare at that grief, like just look at it and notice that okay, I'm experiencing grief, but I know that this grief will pass. So it's kind of like it builds resilience with you also, because
Mm.
you realize that you are not really your emotion, and that if you are able to sit there and notice that you're feeling grief and like let the grief like pass, right, then that's how you kind of like overcome it even
Yeah,
quicker.
yeah.
Exactly. So this concept has been one thing that really helped me. So
Mm,
I'm sure like many of us, right, even those in relationships, we might have actually felt lonely at some point of time in our life. It could be
100%.
a loneliness for no reason, or like just stems out of nowhere.
Yep.
So like when you feel that way, right, you really feel like you are the only one in the world, and like you feel very small and very lost. But if you practice mindfulness, you are able to note that okay, this loneliness is just here for a while. It's just gonna pass. Once it will pass. So in a sense, you just kind of like detach yourself. You just observe your feeling. You don't be so like, you don't like kind of like think like, oh, I'm so lonely and depressed, but rather you just look at it as like a friend, or like just something down there that you're experiencing, and then you learn to let it pass. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the movie, the little cartoon. What's that called?
Which one?
Uh, the
Inside
cartoon
Out.
Inside Out. I think it's Inside Out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Look at different colors.
Inside Out, Inside Out.
Yeah, exactly. Then you just observe the little cartoons and you say, hey, this is not me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. So this has been the biggest thing that has helped me so far, because like when I'm feeling that kind of intense like emotion or whatsoever, I can detach myself and note that like it will simply pass, and then you don't get so hold up in the whole situation. So
Yeah.
that is kind of like how you like train your mind. Yeah, like
I like that. I like that. Yeah.
yeah,
I
correct.
guess that's something that I applied to my life, but just that in a very different method. For myself, for example, I feel that hey, today I'm not motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying that Daryl is lazy, I would just say that Daryl lack motivation. So
Mm.
something similar, which is what you were doing. You say that hey, I'm not angry. Is this just anger? So in that sense, the labeling thing, which I find that is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually I would just be aware of my emotion. I never really sit down and just observe. I haven't tried that. I don't know how it will work out.
Yeah, please try that. Next time, perhaps if you have some sort of negative emotion, whether it be loneliness or anger or frustration, right, you just like try to sit there and try to like detach from it, to like note that you are feeling it, but you know that it will definitely pass. And
Yeah,
then like, yeah, but yeah, it takes time to practice also. That's why it's always, it is like it is a practice lah.
yeah, definitely.
And then you'll see the progress. Yeah,
Right,
correct.
awesome, awesome. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so she missed out a very important point. You can continue.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about like the temporal nature of things. So when you realize that all things are temporary, be it good things or bad things, you are able to take them more lightly with a pinch of salt. And that is why it's so important to stay mindful, because you notice that when you're facing good times, you obviously kind of like enjoy the good times. You want the good times to last, but you realize they are only temporary. So when you're mindful and you are contented with that happiness you feel in that moment, that is how you feel genuinely like happy and joyful. At the same time, on the other hand, if you're experiencing something negative or something bad, you also recognize the temporal nature of it. You realize that it will go away. So example, if we talk about loneliness again, you are able to realize that loneliness, yes, it's a negative emotion, but it's only temporary. So you can just detach yourself from it, and then notice that you realize that it will pass. So kind of like understanding this whole concept, right, will really help you to kind of like be mindful, to know that what you are experiencing right now is only temporary, and then to kind of like be grateful also when you're experiencing the good moments, and then also it helps you tide over the bad moments. Does that
Nice,
make sense?
nice, nice. It makes sense 100%. I guess to sum it up, it keeps you grounded.
Correct.
I
Yeah,
think it's the word.
exactly.
Yeah, it keeps you
Yeah,
grounded. So that
yeah.
you won't be floating to the sky when it's good time and you won't think that it's like destructive or whatever when it's a bad time. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you for sharing this part. Any other important things that you missed out?
I don't think so. All's good. Yeah.